The problem that changes everything. Dig up your sweet potato patch in fall and find yourself staring at massive vines covering your entire garden, but the tubers beneath? They're tiny, pathetically tiny. You spent all season watching those beautiful green plants sprawl across your beds, only to harvest something that fits in your palm. Sound familiar? You're definitely not alone. This is the most frustrating issue gardeners face with sweet potatoes. The silver lining? It's completely fixable. Everything changes once you understand what your plants actually need versus what most people give them. If you're watching this on Backyard Crops, please hit that subscribe button right now. We share gardening secrets like this every week, and you won't want to miss them. Also, tap that like button. It helps us reach more gardeners just like you. Why your sweet potatoes are making leaves instead of tubers. Let's dig into the real reason this happens. Sweet potato plants don't actually prioritize making tubers. Their main goal? Survival and reproduction. That's it. When conditions feel perfect, when there's plenty of nitrogen in the soil, consistent moisture, and rich earth all around, your plant thinks life is wonderful. So it focuses all its energy upward, creating those gorgeous vines and abundant foliage. Why would it bother storing energy underground when everything is easy on the surface? The plant only starts thinking about the future and building tubers as a survival strategy when it feels a little bit of stress, specifically when nitrogen levels drop and soil moisture decreases slightly. That's when the plant says, I better store some energy for harder times ahead, and it shifts resources from leaf production to tuber development. This is the fundamental concept that changes everything about growing sweet potatoes successfully. Your job as a gardener is creating exactly the right amount of stress, not so much that the plant suffers and stops growing, but just enough to convince it that putting energy into those underground tubers is more important than creating more vines. Keep this idea in your mind as we move through each step. It will guide every decision you make. Selecting and starting your planting material. The foundation of your sweet potato success starts with what you plant. A slip, basically a sprout that develops from a mature sweet potato, is what goes into your garden. You can purchase these from garden centers or online retailers, or you can grow your own, which many gardeners prefer because it's more economical and produces way more plants. If you're watching this on Backyard Crops, please hit that subscribe button right now. We share gardening secrets like this every week, and you won't want to miss them. Also, tap that like button. It helps us reach more gardeners just like you. Growing your own slips. Start with a healthy organic sweet potato. This matters because conventional varieties are often treated with sprout inhibitors that prevent sprouting. Suspend the potato in a glass jar filled with water, submerging it about 1/3 of it. Use toothpicks to hold it in position. Place the jar somewhere warm with plenty of natural light. Within 2 to 4 weeks, tiny sprouts will emerge from the top. These sprouts develop into the slips you'll plant. Once a slip reaches approximately 6 inches and develops roots at its base, gently twist it away from the potato. You can either plant it directly or place it in water for another week to allow the roots to develop more fully. The timing for starting slips is important. Begin the process indoors roughly 6 weeks before your area's final spring frost date. This timing provides sufficient days for the slips to become strong and prepared before soil temperatures warm enough to outdoor planting. A single sweet potato can produce between 8 and 15 slips, so you don't need many seed potatoes to establish a productive crop. Preparing your soil the right way. Here's where most gardeners make their biggest mistake with sweet potatoes. Unlike tomatoes or peppers that thrive in nutrient-rich amended soil, sweet potatoes respond very differently. Plant them in soil that's too rich in nitrogen and you'll recreate that frustrating situation. Beautiful vines everywhere, tiny tubers nowhere. What sweet potatoes actually want is loose, well-draining soil that's low in nitrogen while containing adequate phosphorus and potassium. The phosphorus supports root development, which matters enormously since tubers are essentially modified roots. Potassium contributes to the overall quality and size of your harvest. What you definitely don't want is nitrogen. This means no fresh compost, no manure, and absolutely no high nitrogen fertilizer. Consider planting in a bed that hasn't received amendments for 1 to 2 years specifically to deplete the nitrogen levels. Addressing heavy clay soil. If your soil is heavy clay, you'll need to make significant improvements. Sweet potatoes can't push through compacted earth to form tubers properly. Heavy soil results in small, misshapen tubers or sometimes none at all. Work the soil to approximately 12 inches deep, mixing in coarse sand if needed to improve texture and drainage. Raised beds work beautifully for sweet potatoes because they let you control the soil composition completely. Building a bed specifically for sweet potatoes. Use approximately 60% garden soil and 40% sand. Skip the compost entirely or use only a small amount of well-aged compost. Yes, this sounds backwards since we're always told to add compost. Trust this approach anyway. Sweet potatoes genuinely prefer lean soil. Creating optimal planting ridges. Create raised ridges or mounds for planting. Make rows approximately 8 to 10 inches tall and roughly 12 inches across the top. These ridges give tubers room to expand and guarantee excellent drainage. Waterlogged soil causes tuber rot. Those raised ridges prove especially valuable if summer rain is typical in your area. Planting your slips for success. Once your soil is prepared and frost danger has passed, it's time to plant. Sweet potatoes are tropical plants with zero cold tolerance. Soil temperature should reach at least 60 degrees Fahrenheit before planting, though 65 to 70 degrees is even better. In most regions, this means waiting about 2 to 3 weeks after your area's last frost date. When planting day arrives, bury each slip fairly deep. Aim for about half to 2/3 of the slip underground, with just a few leaves expanding above the soil surface. The buried nodes along the stem will eventually produce roots and tubers. The deeper you bury it, the better your results. Space slips approximately 12 to 18 inches apart within each row. If you're planting multiple rows, space them about 3 feet apart to give those sprawling vines adequate room. This spacing seems generous, but sweet potato vines expand considerably and require space to spread properly. After planting, water your slips thoroughly. This is the one moment when generous watering is appropriate because the slips need to establish roots quickly. Keep the soil consistently moist for the first week or two until you observe new growth, indicating that roots have taken hold. Have you tried growing sweet potatoes before? Drop your experiences in the comments below. We love hearing from our backyard crops community. The watering strategy that changes everything. This is another area where most gardeners struggle with sweet potatoes. Remember what we discussed about stress earlier? Once your slips are established, roughly 2 weeks after planting, you need to back off watering dramatically. Sweet potatoes are naturally drought-tolerant plants, and overwatering is one of the primary reasons gardeners end up with abundant foliage but minimal tubers. Here's the approach that works. For the initial 2 weeks after planting, water regularly to help slips establish their root systems. After that point, only water when the soil is dry down to approximately 2 inches below the surface. In most climates, this translates to deep watering once weekly, perhaps twice during extremely hot periods. The objective is allowing the soil to dry between waterings. When soil becomes slightly dry, the plant receives a message: I need to store energy for challenging times ahead. This triggers a shift from vine production to tuber production. This doesn't mean allowing plants to wilt and suffer visibly. If leaves droop during midday and don't recover by evening, the soil is too dry and needs water. A little mild water stress proves helpful, but withering plants indicate excessive stress. The pre-harvest watering adjustment. Approximately 3 to 4 weeks before harvest, stop watering entirely if possible. This signals to the plant that the growing season is ending, encouraging it to direct every remaining bit of energy into those tubers. Stopping water also helps skins toughen, which improves storage capability after harvest. Fertilizing. The less you do, the better. This might be the briefest section of this entire guide because the primary recommendation is simple. Don't fertilize sweet potatoes, at least not the way you fertilize other vegetables. You already understand that nitrogen sabotages tuber production. Most commercial fertilizers contain high nitrogen levels. So here's the rule. Don't fertilize sweet potatoes during the growing season at all. The lean soil prepared earlier provides exactly what they need. If you genuinely feel compelled to provide something, and many gardeners experience that urge because we love nurturing our plants, use a fertilizer that's low in nitrogen and higher in phosphorus and potassium. Search for ratios like 5:10 or 0:10:10. You could also side dress with a bit of wood ash, which provides potassium without adding nitrogen. Subscribe to Backyard Crops for more counterintuitive gardening tips that actually work. You might be surprised by what we recommend. Honestly, the best sweet potato harvests happen when gardeners do nothing except plant and allow nature to work. The more you baby plants, the more leaves develop. The more you leave them alone, the more tubers form. After learning this lesson, harvests improve dramatically. Maintenance during the growing season. During the growing season, there's not much required beyond observation. The vines will sprawl and spread everywhere, and that's completely fine. Some gardeners recommend lifting vines periodically to prevent them from rooting at the nodes as they spread across the ground. The theory suggests that when vines root along their length, energy gets diverted away from the main tuber cluster. Different approaches have been tested, lifting vines regularly versus leaving them alone, and honestly, the difference isn't dramatic. But if you want to maximize your harvest and have the time available, gently lift and move vines every few weeks. Just avoid breaking them because they're the pipeline delivering energy to those tubers. Watch for weeds early in the season before vines fill in the bed. Once sweet potato vines blanket the ground, they shade out weeds naturally. This is one of the enjoyable aspects of growing sweet potatoes. Once established, they're basically maintenance-free. Recognizing the right harvest time. Timing matters far more than most realize when harvesting. Sweet potatoes are ready when leaves start yellowing and vines begin dying back. In most regions, this occurs about 90 to 120 days after planting, depending on your specific variety and growing conditions. Here's the thing. You can actually leave them in the ground longer if you want bigger tubers. The tubers continue growing and expanding until the first frost arrives. If warm weather persists, let them keep developing. However, you absolutely must harvest before a hard frost occurs. A light frost that damages leaves is acceptable, but if cold penetrates the soil and freezes the tubers, they're ruined and will begin rotting almost immediately. Monitor your weather forecast carefully as fall approaches. Harvesting without damage. When harvest day arrives, use a garden fork or broad fork, beginning about 12 to 18 inches away from the plant base. Work slowly and carefully because sweet potato skins are tender and bruise easily. Any cut or gouges made during harvest become entry points for rot during storage. Use your hands for the final phase, gently feeling through the soil to locate all tubers without stabbing them with a fork. Work your way around the plant in circles, loosening soil and lifting gently. Tubers can be surprisingly far from the original planting location, sometimes nearly 2 feet away. Once everything is harvested, brush off excess soil, but don't wash them. Washing removes the natural protective coating and shortens storage life. Simply brush them clean and lay them in a warm, dry location. Solving common sweet potato problems. Problem 1. Massive vines, tiny tubers. This happens almost exclusively from too much nitrogen or excessive water. Next season, plant in a leaner soil, cut back watering after establishment, and skip fertilizing. The difference will be noticeable. Problem 2. Cracked or misshapen tubers. Inconsistent watering causes this, swinging from very dry to very wet repeatedly. It can also result from heavy compacted soil preventing even expansion. Consistent light watering and loose, well-drained soil prevent this issue. Problem 3. Tubers rotting before harvest. This is almost always a drainage problem. Sweet potatoes cannot tolerate waterlogged soil. If you have heavy clay or drainage issues, grow them in raised beds next time. Also ensure you're not overwatering. Problem 4. Bland or starchy taste. This often isn't a growing problem at all. It's a curing problem. But if other factors are ruled out, bland tubers sometimes result from harvesting too early before plants have loaded those tubers with sugars. Problem 6. Rodent damage. Voles and mice tunnel through soil and feast on tubers while still underground. If this happens, try lining the bottom and sides of planting beds with hardware cloth before filling with soil. It's extra work, but keeps rodents out. Problem 7. Slips failing to establish. This usually means they lacked sufficient roots when planted, or soil was too dry during those critical initial weeks. Ensure slips have visible roots before planting, and keep them well watered until new growth appears. The bonus tip: curing for dramatically sweeter potatoes. Here's where the magic happens. This single step makes the difference between starchy, bland sweet potatoes and rich, caramelized, absolutely delicious ones. The secret is curing. Most people dig up sweet potatoes and either eat them immediately or put them in storage. But freshly harvested sweet potatoes aren't actually sweet, they're starchy. Sweetness develops during a curing process that converts starches into sugars. The curing process. After harvest, place sweet potatoes in a warm, humid location for about 10 to 14 days. Aim for temperatures around 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity around 80 to 90%. This sounds very specific, but these conditions are easily created. A small bathroom with a space heater and a tray of water adds humidity. Others use a closet with a heat source. You can even use a covered box with a light bulb inside to generate heat and a damp towel nearby for humidity. During this curing process, starches convert to sugars and skins toughen for long-term storage. After curing, move sweet potatoes to a cool, dry location around 55 to 60 degrees. They'll store for 6 months or longer. Here's the truly amazing part. They continue getting sweeter during storage. A sweet potato that's been stored for 2 or 3 months tastes dramatically better than one fresh from the ground. Be patient, cure them properly, store them well, and you'll be rewarded with the sweetest, most flavorful sweet potatoes you've ever tasted. Your complete sweet potato success roadmap. Growing sweet potatoes that produce big, beautiful tubers instead of just leaves follow these fundamental principles. Create lean soil, apply moderate water stress, avoid excess nitrogen, plant deep slips, space them properly, and cure your harvest before eating. Please subscribe to Backyard Crops and hit that notification bell so you never miss our growing guides. Like this video, share it with gardeners you know, and comment below with your sweet potato growing experiences. The sweet potato plant is one of the most rewarding crops available to home gardeners. Once you understand what it actually needs, which is often opposite from typical gardening advice, your results transform dramatically. Follow these steps and you'll be pulling up sweet potatoes the size of your forearm, wondering why you didn't start growing them years ago. Happy growing!